See, bouncing here now. All you can get for SIG right now is 10 cents. So if you want to take it off, you can take it off for 10 cents. Um, I'm not going to mess with it. I'll put it on here. I'm going to go ahead and put it across the on the alert for 10 cents, just to in case anybody wants to take it off. I just don't see it dropping down anywhere close to what we needed to today. So. Did I close Moderna, Ari? Yeah, I closed Moderna. I took a loss of Moderna. These strangles this week have been very, very difficult. They haven't done much of anything. We had that one nice one in STZ, but not very good. Anyway, I closed it at 30 cents. 30 cents in Moderna. SPY creeping up. Creeping is the key word here. Again, 597 on the SPY, 597.78. And it's up about 70 or 80 cents above that, but it's very, very slow move here. If you're patient in the SPY super system trade, it's doing okay. Again, I get out for 15 cents, but it's moved up a bit from there. Let's see, I got out at 15 cents. Get out about $1.63. It's about $1.97. It's up about 30 cents from above what I got out at. So a decent trade. Q's making a little bit of a move now as well. AWM, very weak compared to the rest of the market right now. But I'm moving up to 599. That 600 level is pretty key as well. Pretty nice move in the SPY here today now. It's slow, but it's been grinding up. Holding up pretty nicely. Again, just took one SPY Super System trade so far today for a 15-cent profit, $15 profit. Could have stayed in, I didn't, and it's moved up pretty nicely here. So pretty good little move here. Again, watching Tesla for potential entry, but missed it right here, which is where the entry would have been. MSTR just moving sideways, very volatile stock. Made money on NVO, Ari, to the put side. It came right back down again. Yeah. So I made it on I made it on the call side this morning, and made it on the put side. It's trading right now. I get in at 90, out at $100. It's trading at 96 right now. So you got in at 84, so you did fine on the put side. SPY moving up here pretty nicely here. If you had stayed in the SPY Super System trade, you're doing extremely well. I didn't, but it's a nice setup. Again, I gotta wait for a pullback a little bit to get into it now. Q's got resistance at 523.78. For anybody who's in FTAI with me, I just took it off. Took a loss on FTAI. That was another strangle. Tiny, tiny candles on the SPY. Really, really tiny. Stand this a little bit and see what it looks like. Yeah, these are really one decent candle. A lot of tiny, tiny candles. Not really great price action.
On BDMD hitting a new day, Wyse now up 100%. BDMD.
Al, you like the Tesla 430 for 440 for next week? Yeah, we talked about these doing a debit spread on Tesla. Trading at 434 right now. I don't know what you get it for. You obviously want to get it for as much under $5 as you possibly can. Hopefully you can get it for somewhere in the neighborhood of 380, something like that. I don't know what it's going for, but it's a nice setup on Tesla. I do like that 430, 440. I like it since we have Monday off. Yeah, I mean, TPR looks nice. Yeah, TPR Lee has been that's been a nice one. I've had that on my long list for quite a few days. I haven't traded it, but it's a nice one. It's getting a little bit extended right now, but this is a really nice trend. TPR. We might have looked at this week earlier. I had it on my watch list every day this week, but it's been a really nice one. Just moving up, just following the 8, pulling away a little bit right now, but that's a nice setup. Earnings on 213. Nice look on that one. That was very nice, very nice setup on TPR. Weekly candle on SPY is pretty impressive. Yeah, this is a big move in the SPY for the week. This is the weekly candle he's looking at right here. Is the weekly chart. This is the weekly on it. It's a bullish engulfing candle on the SPY. Pretty impressive. Yes, it is pretty impressive. We had another big one back here too. It wasn't quite an engulfing candle, but a pretty nice one. And then we just kind of flattened out and moved up a little bit. But this is a pretty nice look on the SPY on the weekly chart. I don't look at the weekly much, but that's a pretty impressive candle right there. I knew SPY was having a pretty big week this week. It's pulling in right now. Tesla pulling back a little bit. I'd like to see it pull back. I do like that 430, 440 for next week though. William, small candles, not confident rise up. No, it's not been a confident rise up. There's been a few decent sized candles mixed in, but mostly pretty small. But a pretty impressive move up on the SPY. Small move, but impressive. There's always, of course, you're gonna get smacked down at any moment. Yeah, it could. SPY has left the building. Joseph getting a follow through on the MXL from a few days ago. Earnings coming up. Yeah, I remember you mentioned MXL. Nice candle on MXL today. Very nice breakout. Up about 3.5%. Earnings on the 29th. Joseph looking at Google on the cusp of a breakout. Yeah, 200. Should break it out for around 200. Yeah, that's about right. I gotta get some new lines on Google. I haven't really been watching it that much. You draw a couple of high volume lines on here. Yeah, there isn't very many high volume lines. Hasn't had any high volume in a couple of weeks. I got resistance at 198.69 on the high volume candle, 198.69. But I got a few other ones in there too. 196. Down to 194. 198.69 is a relevant price for me right now. 198.69 on Google. Moving up today, and again, it's not high volume candle today either, but it is a nice move up off the 8. Yeah, that 430, 440, I got when I put that 430, 440 in on Tesla for next week. I get 447, which I'm not going to pay 447 for a $10 spread. Damn it. Alfie, stop. Alfie, stop.
Hey, I didn't see the car out there. I thought you were
Oh,
going.
it's in the garage. Stop it.
How are you?
Good.
Good.
When did you have your little dust up?
The car?
With the dump truck, yeah.
With the garbage truck.
Oh, garbage?
City Poly Beach garbage truck, rear end of Riverland, out of Stainsville. Yeah.
Wasn't that a newer car too? Wasn't that
My car?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's 2018. I had it for a couple of years, but yeah.
Yeah.
And
Stop.
did you see it, Dave?
Hold on a second.
Okay.
I gotta get to it. I got 15 things going on here.
Now I'm having an issue with the insurance company.
Of course.
That's like I mean awful. And she's given me the runaround. The accident happened on December 2nd. And they totaled my car on December 16th. I've made 2 car payments on a car I no longer own. I'm still insuring this vehicle that I no longer own. And she supposedly sent out checks to my bank for the payoff and to me. I've received none. But they had my address wrong, and it went to Lane's house twice. Lane said he sent it back twice because he didn't recognize the name. And he said he sent mail back twice that he didn't recognize. It could have been that one, and now they just sent me another email saying that the bank received their check on the 16th and returned it. So I don't know.
Who's your insurer? Who's your insurer?
My insurer? State Farm, all state. But this is their the other side.
Is this his?
That's it.
Okay.
Is that right?
Yes.
He's being a bad boy.
Why are you being a bad boy?
Yeah, Our daughter had an accident in August or something,
Yeah.
or July, and it took 3 months, and she was still paying insurance and all this stuff.
Mhm.
Sorry to hear all that, but it's not, I mean.
So that, yeah, I looked at that Tesla 430, 440, it was 540, 447, which is too high for me. I don't want to pay that much for it. I'm going to wait for a pullback on it and see if I can take it then. MSTR worked out okay with a little pop up there.
They don't care.
Tesla
Not a bit.
is again moving sideways, and SPY just moving sideways here right now. Almost got this, it's a little over 599, not 600 yet. So just watching here, not jumping into anything at the moment.
Aggressive, and I'm saying, yes, Mr. Robertson, thank you, yes, thank you, yes, thank you. Sure, why not, let's do that, okay. Like, yes, sure, that's okay, that's fine, sure, okay. Well, I just wanted to, why, this tone, and I don't know if it has do with my upbringing or whatever. One thing I hate more than the world is a rude person. So that, it touches me to the point where I have to put the phone away and breathe and all this other kind of stuff to not react. Oh. And see now, I've had 3 rental cars now. The first one they took away from me because they said we can't extend the rental any longer. I was like, dude, you haven't paid off my vehicle yet. How am my bank is not going to allow me to continue to pay for a car I don't have and allow me to buy another vehicle when I'm still paying for this one. So it is bad. And then I'm going to have to go back to work because the doctors have released me. Well, all but one. And that next week I'm going to see him and I don't see why he wouldn't release me. But after that's done, I'll be going back to work. Can't go back to work with one year.
No.
So.
Oh, I know. No, it's ridiculous. Because they give
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I stay on top of it. If she tells me to take the car back regardless of the situation, I take it back. I don't even. If I need another car, then I go back to the adjuster and make them give me another car. But I won't put anything on my end because Enterprise already has my bank information because they need a $50 deposit for me to get the car. So if I do anything with the car that's not kosher, it just goes straight to my account.
She also got charged. My daughter also got charged for
Yep. Yeah. My sister warned me about that too. Yeah.
You can't ever get an insurance.
I need to go send this to them.
But what I can do is I'm still on call too.
You are? Huh?
That's it. I work upstairs.
Oh. Okay.
He works down here.
Well, you just pop up out of nowhere.
That's where I work. I didn't even hear you last time I was on.
Oh, okay.
All right, so again, just kind of watching the market here. We just took one SPY Super System trade so far today. Back in here, gets $15 profit. I'm out. Obviously should have stayed in it, rode up some more, but these are really small candles here. Really small candles. And SPY has got some resistance. It was at 597.78, which has now gone through by about $1. So now it's got room up to 606. 606. We'll see if it does that, but that's a big move. Again, we're staying above the 50-day moving average on the SPY on the daily chart, which is important. Yeah, venue. You're talking about the debit spread on Tesla, 435, 440. $3 is too much to pay for it. You got to pay less than 50% of the spread, and as much below 50% as possible, especially with a week to go. So if I was going to do a 435, 440 on Tesla, I would have to get it for somewhere around 210, 205, something like that. And I'm just going to wait for it to pull back, and then see if I can get a 430, 440 for somewhere in the neighborhood of about $3, 350, something like that. High compression setup on deck, Joseph. Deckers. Yeah, it's breaking out of a fairly long. This is a fairly long compression. It's a little bit of a wide compression, but this whole thing, in here, this is all compression. This whole thing around here. We just draw a box around it. You'll see this is a fairly tight range we've been in. It's trying to break out of it. It hasn't really broken out, but it's trying to here. Pretty choppy action on Deckers. Nice move up here and then just chop, chop, chop. SPY pulling back a little bit now. And if I can get it pulled back in Tesla, I'm going to try to take it. It needs to stay above 427.01 today. But I'll try to take a debit spread on it if I can. Oh, 11:45 right now. Get some folks over here in YouTube watching. Welcome. Again, this is Dave, if you don't know. And this is my options room that I have is Compass, or SPY Super System Trading Options Room and Alert Service. This is our software. This is the SPY Super System, what used to be called the Compass software. This tells us whether institutions are buying, selling, or not doing either. We use current time frame momentum right here and multi-time frame momentum right here for the daily chart, and for trading the indexes, SPYs, Qs, IWM, I just focus on the SPY Super. I just focus on the current time frame momentum. This is the critical one. Notice it went from yellow, which is bearish, to blue, which is bullish right here, and popped up above the VWAP, and has been green ever since. I get in it and made about $15 a contract, but if you had stayed in it, you'd be up probably now more in the neighborhood of about $60 or $70 a contract. I get out on early on because it hadn't been doing anything. The price action had been very flat, and the SPY was starting to get a little bit of a move up here now. Okay. And check for some more questions. Breakout at the open and net. Took profits. Still interesting pattern, Joseph. Yeah, Cloudflare. That is a nice breakout, and you did good to get out right at the. You know, these are. I always take, if I'm in a trade long and I get a gap up, I take profits. And if I'm in a trade short and I get a gap down, I take profits. I typically don't stay in if I get a gap, because I'll take the profits on a gap, and then I can reevaluate it. Net looks pretty nice here. It's putting in a doji candle today right now, but it's above the breakout. Yeah, nice look on that one, Joseph, as well. TPR still grinding up. That was pointed out. That's another nice long TPR. I'm gonna need a decent pullback in Tesla to take the 430, 440. It's just $4.48 too much. I mean, that's too much for a $10 spread. It's almost half of the spread. Qs are up about 1.7%. SPY is up about 1.1%, but the Qs have not trading as well as the SPY is. So they get a bigger gap, and they're just really not doing too much. So I much prefer the SPY to the long side here. IWM has been fairly weak. I'm not going to touch it. It's got too many support and resistance levels close by. So the only thing I might be interested in today would be trading the SPY. Again, the market's closed on Monday. So that's going to go out into next week. You got to make sure that, well, obviously, SPY is not going to have any expiration dates on Monday. It'll just have expiration dates starting on Tuesday. Robert from the over in the YouTube room, BRK/B strong. Yeah. Berkshire Hathaway. Yeah, really nice move in it today, up 1.5%. Very nice move in Berkshire Hathaway. That's the B. Yeah, nice green candles. When you post, I'm not sure what time you posted this, but yeah, it opened up nicely. It's been grinding up all day and flattening a little bit right now, but looking at it on the daily chart, that's a nice breakout on the daily chart. Let me draw a couple of volume lines here. It doesn't have any, it's not a high volume candle though. Got some tentative resistance at 470.02. And then again at 478.30. Not so functional? Welcome. Relatively new. Well, welcome to the channel. Again, I broadcast here each day for about an hour or so to introduce people to the methodology we use here in the SPY Super System. In my trading room, I have an options trading room, and as well as an alert service. This is a software that we load onto Thinkorswim called the SPY Super System. It's extremely accurate in indicating when institutions are in, when they're not. So what do I think about coin here for a day trade? No, it's in a decent level. It's actually a pretty nice level, even for a swing trade to the upside right now. Coin is Bitcoin very news sensitive, very choppy, but it's a nice candle today. It's the problem is with for a day trade on coin right now. This is the problem. So you got a nice little gap up and then a nice move up, and this is you're just chopping here. Completely flat. You've got to get above the VWAP, which is this yellow line right here. That VWAP is, you need to get above there, and then you might get some room. The thing I like about this is I wouldn't take an expiration date on today. If you're going to buy shares, that's one thing. If you're going to buy your calls, you got to go out a couple weeks, because this is a nice setup. You see the 50-day moving average right here, but look at how choppy this thing has been. But this is a nice gap up this morning and above the 50. But if you take it long, your stop has got to be a close below the 50-day moving average. But I don't like the intraday trade on it right now, just because it needs to get above this VWAP right here. This is too compressed. I mean, it's really just compressing. If we look around here on our platform on the SPY Super System, you can see the same thing. You notice that it's been going between red and this green, which is bullish, yellow, which is bearish, red, which is bearish, blue, which is bullish. You're getting all these changing colors on the 5-minute multi-time frame, current time frame momentum. This is telling you that you got nothing but chop here right now. See, it's got to break out. You've got to get above the VWAP and stay above the VWAP, and you got to get an indication that this thing is going to confirm above there. That's why I wouldn't be touching it right now. I'd be waiting for the setup. So that's what I think of that's not so functional. I think I wouldn't trade it. I mean, I wouldn't trade it long right now. It's not a high probability trade setup to the upside right now. It's actually got more swing potential than day trade potential right now just because of this compression. These compressions will kill you. I mean, if you get into a day trade on this thing, if you're using options and you try to use today's expiration or something, you're going to get time decayed to death on these things. So you need to see some sort of a move in it. All right, that's my take. And looking at the SPY Super System here, I do like the SPY Long. The 15 is what we'll have to use now. But notice we're yellow here right now. We're getting some selling. This is telling us we've got a little bit of institutional selling coming on the 5-minute right now. So I've got to wait for that to switch back. Q is doing the same. And IWM, which has been fairly weak all day, is now showing a little bit of divergence from the Qs and the SPY moving up. But again, it's below the VWAP. It's been the weakest of the indexes today. Not really interested in trading it. It's got too much support and resistance nearby. $12 here. Market's starting to weaken a little bit. SPY coming in. Notice SPY coming in here. Notice Tesla starting to come in. Triple Qs starting to come in right back to the VWAP. So we're getting a little bit of weakness now. This is the first really weakness showing up in the market today. check some questions here. Can we get any questions? I think everybody's kind of just watching the market. That's all I'm doing right now. I'm just watching. I don't. There was a decent SPY super system trade this morning to the long side. I just got $15 a contract out of it, but could have stayed in it and made some more money. But again, pretty hard to stay in with these red candles stuck in here right now, especially on these small little moves like this. This was flat as a pancake after that gap up this morning, and then just kind of grinding up a little bit. Right now, it's just chop. You know, a little bit of putting in a hammer bar here. Does this mean we're going to turn around and head back up? Don't know. I'm not going to touch it with it while this stays yellow, I'll tell you that. Spiders, cues right off the VWAP, but again, bearish on the momentum indicator. MSTR holding up pretty well. All right, I took some Tesla calls. Again, these are expensive. I'm not going to post these, but I took some Tesla calls for next week, January 24th. January 24th, 420 calls. Fairly deep in the money, 420 calls, January 24th. Next Friday's Tesla calls. I paid, what I pay for these things? $21.35. I paid $21.35, $2,135 a contract for Tesla. These are pretty expensive, and again, it could pull back. But basically, what I'm looking at for a high probability trade on Tesla is right here. This is what I'm looking at. I'm looking for a void fill up here to 447. Again, it's holding 427. It's held it pretty well, so I'm getting in right about here. And I'm going to see if I can't, and if it bounces enough today, I'll take profits today. If I can get $300 or $400 a contract off of this, I'll take it. But I'm in Tesla long. And so I took Tesla at next week's calls. It's expensive, high volatility stock. I'm just trading into this void up to 447, which is 14 points higher. So we'll see. But I was looking to do the spreads on the thing, and I tried a 432, 442, 432.50, 442.50. Too much money. These things are still well up into the $4 rate, 425, 430, 440 for a $10 spread. I'm not going to pay you almost 50% on a $10 spread with a week to go. Ali, ON, nice wedge pop today. Yeah, I looked at ON early this morning. It's a beautiful breakout on it. Really a choppy stock, but it's breaking out beautifully here today. ON. And CRDO is still breaking out. Yep. CRDO broke out. It's retesting the breakout. Yeah, absolutely. 78.80. Pretty close to the breakout level on CRDO. It's putting in, basically it's just got a doji candle right now today on this breakout. You got to be careful on these breakouts, because if you anticipate them and you go through them, they're great if they keep going because you catch them early. The problem is there's no confirmation of a breakout. And so if you wait for confirmation of a breakout, of course you're not going to get in as soon. You're not going to make as much money on the move, but you'll have a higher probability of it following through. So again, that's the difference between a trade that is confirmation trade and a trade that's an anticipation trade. About 12:15. I'm going to take lunch around 12:30, so another 15 minutes or so. I keep the YouTube lead up until I have lunch. Hey GK, good to see you. GK, that's an interesting question. Evident that the system is very consistent. Well, there's some downtime. I'm curious how you arrived at this and how many trials and tribulations you went through to get here. 12 years with a lot of different things. But, I've been working on this for a couple of years, 3 years, to try to get what I figure is, I've always traded the high probability trade setups. That's been my methodology for quite a few years. But trying to determine those high probability trade setups and find the best and eliminate the other ones is the trick. And this is what I've settled on right now. The SPY super system is very, very accurate at letting us know when institutions are in there. And basically, following institutions is how you make money in the market. You're taking money from other retail traders who don't have the knowledge that we have, or don't have the indicators that we have, and we're using most traders don't really understand relative strength and relative weakness, so they don't take advantage of it. They don't really know when institutions are in trades and when they're not. And we take our money from retail traders. We're taking them. That's who we're trading against, retail traders. We're not going to take money away from the institutions. So if we've got better information and better technicals and better methodologies than they do, then consistently we'll win. You're not always going to have winning trades. We have losing trades all the time. But my win rate is about, this year is about 87.5%. I mean, that's pretty hard to do consistently, but we do it every single month. So it took a long time, GK. Did I do the usual small cap Momo blow up account phase? No, don't really trade. I do trade Momo occasionally. I'll trade off a news occasionally if I feel like the news is going to have some staying power. One of the things I trade off of for news is if a company raises or lowers their guidance. Not an analyst. I don't pay any attention to analysts whatsoever, because it's just they don't know any. Honestly, they're looking at fundamentals. They don't know any more about technical trading than you do, and I ignore them completely. I just don't. I don't listen to them. I don't listen to the people on TV talking. I don't listen to any of that stuff. I trade technical analysis, and I trade high probability trade setups. I trade off of my what I've developed over the last few years as the best high probability trade setup that you can take. And I need the tools. I need this compass system, this SPY super system. I need to know this information. I can't get this else. They see how Tesla's showing bearish here right now. But I'm looking at Tesla I took calls for next week, right? So this is what I'm looking at in Tesla. I've got mixed right here. I've got yellow and I've got blue. But you see what the technicals on this tells me that this thing is got a good chance to get to, let me show you, this level right here. This is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at Tesla. And this resistance right there is where I'm expecting it to go, 447. With 427 as a support level. That's exactly how I'm trading this, and this is a pretty nice setup. Does it always work? No, of course not. But is it likely to work? Yes. And if it works, the risk reward worth it? It absolutely is. The 87 is remarkable. Yeah, I'm 87%. Is before I had this system here, the SPY super system. Before I had this, I was doing consistently about 82%, which is high. I mean, that's very, very high. But this pushed it up to about 88%. I even have months where I do 92. But you have some losses too. You take some losses along the way. I've had them months down as low as about 82%, 81% now. But generally speaking, it's very consistent. And I only because I've got the tools and the methodology to do this. It's very important. Two things are the most critical thing for a trader. Very, 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 very important. Two things: discipline, and when I say discipline, what I mean is having a methodology that works. And I don't take any strategies that I haven't proved to work over 80% of the time. Usually about 85%. So I don't take anything that doesn't work at least 80% of the time, and I test that over hundreds of trades. That's discipline. There's a methodology for that. That's what the SPY super system does. That's what the debit spreads that I do. That's what time spreads do. All of the strategies I use have at least an 80 to 85% win rate. Then the second thing after discipline is patience, and here's where the big problem becomes in. Most traders don't have enough patience to wait for their setups. They will stare at the screen for an hour, they get antsy, I got to take a trade, and they dive in. So most traders overtrade. It's a big problem. Overtrading is a big problem. You know, again, one of the things I say in the room frequently is our objective is not to make trades. Our objective is to make money. We make money by only taking the right trades. So anyway, that's enough pontificating, but that's exactly what makes traders consistently profitable. And every consistently profitable trader I know who's been trading for years follows a discipline and is patient. You can take the people scalping or the Momo traders and all that kind of stuff, and they're going to blow their accounts up. Okay, there's the SPY moving up. It's not the SPY, the Tesla moving up. I could take a look at my Tesla. I may want to take profits in that. Thanks, GK. Appreciate it. Jim Cramer's in the Messiah. No. Jim Cramer didn't even used to look at technicals at all until about 5 or 6 years ago. It was all just fundamentals. You can't day trade off of fundamentals. You can't even short-term swing trade off of fundamentals. You've got to use technicals. That's all I use, technicals. Yeah, GK, patience is the most difficult one for you. It's the most difficult one for most retail traders, and that's what sinks most retail traders' attempt to become consistently profitable. I'm getting a pretty good move here in Tesla. I got to take a quick look here. Yeah. So I set a sell order on Tesla to make $300 a contract on it. If I can get $300 a contract on it in an hour or so, I'll take it. I still like it up to 447, but I'll grab profits if I can. And then if it pulls back, I may re-enter. SPY looking pretty good here, coming off of the 15. VWAP's down here, coming off the 15, coming out of this dynamic compression zone right here, breaking out. So again, pretty nice little move in the SPY today. This is very consistent on the SPY. It's been going now for 3 hours, above the 50-day moving average, with no significant selling. Fairly important. Looking at the T2104, which I haven't looked at really much today yet. It's bullish, still bullish. A little flatter now than it was this morning, but still bullish. All right, let's look at some questions here. Ollie, deck wedge pop, cool. Deckers. Yep, nice pop on Deckers. Yeah, and it's coming out of a wedge. Nice look on that one, Aria. Really nice. We have some really, really excellent traders in this room. Some of the point outs are really spot on. Let me just show you the Deckers that he just called out, and why this is such a nice call out. All right, so here's Deckers. This is on TC 2000. All right. So here's your Deckers daily chart right here. Okay, this is an algo line to the downside right here. This is a descending resistance line. It actually should be drawn to about right there. Descending resistance line. This is an ascending support line coming from way down here. Right? This is right there. That's an ascending line right there. You headed out?
Yep.
Oh, you got a massage?
Yep.
Oh, have a good time.
Thank you.
I'm really busy here. I'm sorry. I'm just.
No, it's no problem.
I mean, I am swamped in here today. Sorry about that. So anyway, this is the wedge you saw, okay? And you see a nice little breakout here on it. But if this is a wedge that was formed here, this algo line here and this algo line here formed a beautiful wedge. See, it's above there right now. So there is where you want to stay, of that wedge right there. That's a nice breakout. Beautiful, beautiful look on deck. What was the sell order I put in on Tesla? Let me look. I don't remember. I put them in and move on to something else. I got it. I put it at. I had it at 24.35. I just dropped it to 23.35. 23.35 on Tesla. Try to catch the momentum on it. I was hoping I'd get out here, but we'll see. I'm going to try to get out, and if I take the profits, I'll just sit on it and I'll watch it again, and then I'll come back and try to enter again if the opportunity arises on a pullback today. Steve's all straightened out. Steve's all set, Ruth?
Yeah, what?
Steve is all set. Steve.
Keys?
Steve. No, Steve. Across the street, he's all
yeah,
set.
He's all set.
Okay, all right.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I don't care. Yes?
Again, I'm watching Tesla pretty closely. Again, I'm going to take 23.35 on this thing if I can get it. Boom! I just got it. All right, so I'm out of Tesla at for $200 contract profit. Again, it was pretty expensive, but a beautiful setup, and I'm going to try to get back in again. All right, so I took a Tesla off. I took my profits in Tesla. I'm going to watch it to see if I want to get back in again. The debit spreads just didn't give me enough. The risk reward just wasn't good enough in the debit spreads, so I took straight calls for next week, hoping to get out today, which I just did. So I just took some took profits on that, and I'm going to look to get in again here in a little bit while. Still going, and it may keep going. That's I don't look in the rearview mirror when I take profits on a day trade like that. I'm going to get out and come back and revisit it. Will it keep on going without pulling back at all? It could, but it's unlikely. So I'll just wait. Again, the market is not a swing trade market yet right now, unless we get this SPY to stay above the 50-day moving average for a day or two. And JJ, let me show you where these lines come from. Okay, look, is a Tesla trade here. You're asking about the high volume. These are high volume resistance lines and support lines. Right. So I have one right here called RVOL. These candlesticks are colored. The white ones, gray ones are regular volume, low volume, average volume, slightly above average. Anything white is a higher than average. I think I get it a set of. I have a different couple of versions I use, but I think this is 120%. So only do I use the candles that have 120% or higher volume on them, and indicating that likely there's institutions pushing the volume at those levels, and those levels tend to repeat. They tend to be hit and hit again and hit again and hit again, and I keep them on there because they go back down to them again. They don't disappear. They're still effective. And so you see this happen all the time. These things, again, nothing's 100%, but this is a pretty effective setup. If you're looking at Apple, you see what Apple did here on this line. It went right up to that high volume line there that we had drawn on Apple. See how it touched here, so they're pretty effective. And I just keep drawing them. You know, we got Apple. Apple now is way down here. This is going to be a high volume candle today. As you can see, that yesterday's candle was high volume. Today's not. And you see what today is. It's right down to this other volume like there. That's about as low as it went so far today. So that's how I do that. And there is some nuance to it. There is some subjectiveness to it. Hey, Ali, you got to try to swing some Tesla, given Trump's inauguration and Elon's effectively being the VP. But the one thing you have to be careful about here is not factoring in how much of that expected bump is already in the price. That's always a problem. It's always a problem with buying the rumor and selling the news, so to speak. My Tesla strike price, Toby, I was pretty deep in the money. I had 420 calls. In at 21.35, out at 23.35. So I was in the money. I try to take reasonably high deltas on the ones that I took. The delta on that one right now is 70, and I typically try to get deltas between 65 and 75 on the calls or puts that I take. I want to have some decent intrinsic value in them because if you take the cheap ones and especially like out of the money, you start taking out of the money calls, except for lottery trades like on a Friday afternoon just before the close, you're just giving your money away, because any kind of compression, any kind of pullback on out of the money puts and calls, they'll just rip the premium out of those things like crazy. Time decay just murders you on those things. Switch back to SPY, see if I can find some SPY super system setups. Now, when you go to super system setups today, at this point in time, it's 12:35. I'll likely, unless I have some overriding reason to take today's, I'll go to Tuesdays and pay extra for them, but to avoid too much time decay during compressions or pullbacks, because on expiration today, they're going to really accelerate. The time decay accelerates really quickly after lunchtime or so. So I would go with out to Tuesdays on any SPY super systems I take after lunch. SPY coming in a little bit. Again, I'm out of Tesla. Fortunately, by the looks of that. But again, that doesn't mean I won't re-enter this thing with next week's expiration again. But I'm going to wait to see what the market does now. Again, I want to see the SPY stay above the 50-day moving average. So, all right, I'm going to take a break here and get something to eat. Tesla trade, it was a nice trade. This SIG trade is a piece of garbage. This thing just didn't do anything. Had trouble with some strangles this week. Had a nice strangle in STZ, but I've had some trouble. I had trouble with Moderna, and this SIG has not worked. So there's been some other ones I missed that probably would have been pretty good. And the Schlumberger time spread is also, had some folks get out to 27 this morning. I probably should have had it set at 27 or 28 instead of 31. I'm just going to see if it pulls back today. The problem right now is Schlumberger is up, gapped up on earnings. So you now run into the situation that if you try to hold a position and collect the premium on the put that you sold, or the call that you sold for this week, you're likely to get assigned the stock. Now, if the stock is bullish, that's not a horrible thing. But the problem is with Schlumberger, is you see where it is right now. It's right here at the 200-day moving average. I would be very hesitant to try to hold it long at the 200-day moving average. Jonathan, thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah, listen, I'm going to get some lunch, and we do have a 3-day weekend. Just so you know, markets closed on Monday. So MLK birthday and Martin Luther King inauguration day too, which is not a holiday, but it happens to fall on the same day this year. Probably every year, I guess. But anyway, markets closed Monday, and so get a little bit of a break. SPY bounced right back up again. Again, I'm out of Tesla, giving me a chance to get something to eat. All right, I'll be back in just a little bit. YouTube folks, have a great weekend. Have a good long 3-day weekend. I'll be back broadcasting on Tuesday around 11:15 or so. Have a good one.